Major Leonard Harding was an intelligence officer with the 498th Bombardment Group on Saipan. His job after every B-29 mission was to sit across a table from the returning aircrew and go through what they had seen and done, question by question, until he had a complete picture of the mission. Then he compared that picture to the post-strike reconnaissance photographs. Usually they agreed. On the morning of November 27, 1944, they did not. He laid two photographs on the table in front of Captain James Hollis. The first showed the Mitsubishi aircraft engine plant at Nagoya. The second showed the same plant. Harding asked Hollis to look at them carefully. Hollis studied them for about 10 seconds. Then he asked which one was the after. Harding told him both of them were the before. The plant was untouched. No bomb craters, no fire damage, no structural collapse. The reconnaissance aircraft had overflown it at 0900 that morning. Whatever Hollis and his crew had dropped their bombs on the previous night, it was not the Mitsubishi plant at Nagoya. B-29 operations from Saipan in November 1944 were not easy. The round trip to the Japanese home islands was nearly 3,000 miles. Crews flew at 25,000 feet, where the temperature outside the aircraft was minus 50 degrees Celsius, for 16 hours at a time, in an aircraft that was pressurized but not heated equally throughout. The gunners in the tail and waist positions worked in conditions that produced frostbite on long missions. The crews who did it understood they were doing something that had not been done before in the history of air warfare. The crew of the B-29 designated Mariana's Luck had flown the mission the previous night as briefed. They were certain of this. Captain Hollis had led the formation from Saipan at 2200 hours on November 26th, climbed to 25,000 feet over the Pacific, and made landfall over the Japanese coast at approximately 1:30 local time. 11 other aircraft flew in formation with him. The target was the Mitsubishi plant. The weather over the target was clear. The bombardier, Lieutenant Ray Corbett, had a clean run and released at 0147. Hollis had seen the bombs go. The navigator, Lieutenant Frank Mace, had confirmed position through dead reckoning and 3-star fixes. The tail gunner, Sergeant Earl Wynn, reported fires visible from 60 miles on the return leg. 12 men, 1 pilot, 1 co-pilot, a bombardier, a navigator, a flight engineer, a radio operator, and 6 gunners. All 12 had been through the debrief. All 12 described the same mission in the same detail. The flak had been moderate over the coast and heavier approaching the target. Corbett had held the bomb bay open for 31 seconds on the run-in. Mace had called the release point at 0147:23. Wynn had seen a secondary explosion after the bombs hit. 12 consistent accounts. The reconnaissance photographs showed none of it had happened. Harding spent 3 days going through the records before he filed his report. What he found, piece by piece, made the photographs seem like the simple part. The first thing was Wynn's account of the anti-aircraft fire. Wynn reported flak at 30,000 feet above the aircraft's operational ceiling. He was specific about this. He had watched the bursts and estimated the altitude carefully because accurate flak reporting was part of his job. The problem was that Japanese anti-aircraft artillery in 1944 could not reach 30,000 feet. The ceiling of their Type 88 guns was 22,000. Whatever Wynn had seen bursting above him, it was not Japanese anti-aircraft fire. The second thing was the formation. 11 other B-29s flew from Saipan that night. Their debriefs were conducted separately from Hollis's crew by different intelligence officers and all checked out against reconnaissance. Their crews reported a normal mission. None of them reported contact with Mariana's Luck. The aircraft was assigned Position 7 in the formation. The crew in Position 6 said Position 7 had been empty for the full mission. The crew in Position 8 said the same. Hollis said he had flown directly between them for 16 hours. He described the aircraft on either side of him. The pilots of those aircraft, when asked, said there had been nothing between them. The third thing was Mace's navigation chart. Mace was the best navigator in the 498th Bombardment Group. His position fixes were known for their accuracy. His chart from the night of November 26th showed the standard route north-northwest from Saipan, the coast approach, the bomb run, the return. But at approximately the midpoint of the outbound leg, His log position fixes show the aircraft at coordinates that correspond to nothing. No island, no atoll, no charted feature of any kind. Open Pacific Ocean, roughly midway between Saipan and the Japanese coast. Mace's chart shows them holding that position for 47 minutes. Not drifting, not navigating through it, holding. Making timed orbits over empty ocean at 25,000 feet, as if they were waiting for something or circling a target. The chart is precise about this. Mace log position fixes every 8 minutes throughout the mission, which was standard procedure. The fixes during this 47-minute period are self-consistent and accurate. He was where his instruments said he was. Where his instruments said he was, there was nothing. Mace had no memory of this. His memory of the mission was continuous and normal. The 47 minutes are absent from his recollection, not as a gap, but as something else. The mission in his memory goes straight from the Pacific crossing to the Japanese coast with no interval. The chart disagrees. Mace, when shown the chart after the investigation, said he had no explanation. He said he trusted his own navigation more than his own memory, and his navigation said they had been over open ocean for 47 minutes, doing something he could not account for. Corbett's bombing log, which every bombardier kept, and which the USAAF checked against mission records, showed the release coordinates from 0147:23. Harding's assistant plotted them on a Pacific theater map. The coordinates were not in Japan, they were not near Japan. They corresponded to a point in the open Pacific, approximately 400 miles southeast of the Japanese coast, at the approximate location where Mace's chart had them during the 47-minute anomaly. Corbett had a memory of dropping bombs over a burning Japanese city. His targeting log said he had dropped them into open ocean. The USAAF investigation concluded with instrument error and crew fatigue as probable contributing factors. It noted that no satisfactory explanation for the reconnaissance findings had been established and recommended no further action. The investigation took 11 days and produced 40 pages of notes that ultimately explained nothing. The crew of Mariana's Luck were returned to duty. Hollis flew 4 more missions without incident and completed his tour. Corbett flew 1 more mission before requesting medical evaluation. The flight surgeon found nothing wrong and returned him to flight status, but he flew a total of 1 more sortie before the group's operations were reorganized and his rotation came up. He went home in February 1945. Mace requested a ground assignment after 3 more missions. He said he was experiencing navigational difficulties. The flight surgeon noted no physiological basis for this. The ground assignment was granted without comment, which in the USAAF of late 1944 meant someone at the group level had decided the situation was not worth pursuing. Wynne kept a sketch he made on the return flight. He had been a draftsman before the war, and the tail gunner position gave him a long, unobstructed view behind and below the aircraft. He sketched on a notepad he kept in his flight suit for this purpose, recording unusual cloud formations, coastlines, anything he thought worth documenting. His hands were steady even after 11 hours at altitude in the cold. The sketch shows a coastline he said he saw below them during the return leg, which he assumed at the time was the southern tip of the Japanese home islands. He drew it from memory during the flight. He had it framed after the war and kept it on the wall of his study in Columbus, Ohio, where it remained until his death in 1991. In 1988, his son, looking at the framed sketch, asked a geography teacher to identify the coastline. The teacher said she did not recognize it. She showed it to a colleague who specialized in Pacific geography. He did not recognize it either. He said the coastline in the sketch did not correspond to any island or landmass he was aware of in the Pacific theater. Wynne was still alive. His son asked him about it. Wynne said, "I know. I have never been able to find it on a map either. I drew what I saw. I do not know what I saw." In 1978, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration surveyed a previously uncharted seamount in the Central Pacific. A seamount is an underwater mountain that does not break the surface. This one rises to within 180 meters of the surface at its highest point and covers an area roughly the size of a medium-sized city. It was not on any Allied or Japanese operational chart in 1944. The survey was routine. NOAA assigned it a designation, logged its position, and moved on to the next feature. In 1993, an aviation historian researching B-29 mission records at the Air Force Historical Research Agency came across Harding's investigation file, including Mace's navigation chart and Corbett's targeting log. She plotted Corbett's release coordinates on a current Pacific chart. They matched the position of the 1978 Seamount to within 1 nautical mile. She published a footnote about it in a 1994 journal article on Pacific bombing campaign accuracy. The footnote notes the coordinate match and attributes it to probable instrument error compounding during a long-range mission. It does not speculate further. It does not explain why 12 men remember bombing a city that shows no damage, or what they were over for 47 minutes in the middle of the Pacific, or what Wynne saw on the way home. The footnote does not explain why the coordinates match. It simply notes that they do. Where history ends and our story begins, we will let you decide where the line falls.